It was an enormous task to reach the verdict that they delivered.
Mark Farrant, a former juror himself, knows jurors deliberating the Jacob Hoggard trial had no easy task. It took them 6 days to reach a verdict, twice telling the judge they were deadlocked.
It must have been very difficult. And a lot of jurors discussed that deliberation was the most stressful moment of their lives.
On Sunday night, 10 men and 2 women found the 37-year-old frontman from the band Hedley guilty of sexual assault causing bodily harm in relation to an Ottawa woman in 2016, and acquitted Hoggard of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old fan. He was also found not guilty of groping her when she was just 15.
Certainly in cases where, unfortunately, middle ground verdicts or acquittals are delivered, they feel that sense of grief, that sense of shame, personal loss at delivering that verdict. They feel responsible for it, knowing that ultimately that was the only decision that could have been reached.
The question for the jury: did the 2 women who described how they were slapped and spit on, left bruised and bleeding, consent to sex in separate incidents? Hoggard pleaded not guilty, testifying it was consensual.
We know that they asked many questions trying to sort out what the law of consent is and how to apply it to these facts.
The executive director of the Women's Legal Education and Action Fund says this trial demonstrates the justice system is not built for survivors.
We need to look at other ways to prevent sexual violence through education on consent and healthy relationships. And we need to look at systems outside of the criminal system, I think, more often to provide options to survivors after they've been assaulted to get some accountability for what they've experienced. So restorative justice, for example.
The judge has now imposed stricter bail conditions as Hoggard awaits sentencing, saying the prospect of a lengthy jail sentence significantly increases the likelihood he will flee, and citing the need to maintain public confidence in the administration of justice now that Hoggard has been convicted. Hoggard's wife had to put up $200,000 bail and is one of 2 sureties who must ensure that he abide by his conditions, including that he live at home in Vancouver, have a curfew between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., have no contact with either complainant, and not leave the province of BC. His lawyers, the Crown and the judge, will be back here in court via Zoom on Friday to set a date for sentencing sometime this summer. At the University Avenue Courthouse, Catherine McDonald, Global News.